Everybody, so we have looked at the Slayer Exciter circuit. Now, predominantly actually it's just an educational toy and not a lot of people use it for a lot of things. And it's such a simple circuit with so few components, it made me think it's got to be useful for something.
Ashley did this beautiful job of this Slayer. As you can see, it's still lighting that light rather nicely. Now, obviously what the Slayer does is radiate its energy in all directions. So this lamp is actually just picking up a tiny amount of the energy that's available. What would be more efficient is if we could surround the Slayer with a lot of lights, so that none of that radiated energy was lost. It was all used to create light. And that seems like a bit of a dream, I guess, apart from these things. This is a compact fluorescent lamp, and it comes like that. I've sawn off the base cap, pulled out the actual lamp fitting itself and detached it from the circuit because that's what I'm interested in. And you will notice it is a ring of lamps. Now it works just fine with this Slayer. There we go. Lights up beautifully. So what would be excellent is if we could put a coil in the centre of there. And if we put a coil in the centre of there, all of that radiant energy is going to be captured by all of the lamps and be converted rather nicely at a much lower energy into light. So what I've done is wind a coil. Now this is exactly the same as an Ashley's Slayer coil, only it's obviously much, much smaller. So I've used a 40 gauge wire here and wound a couple of hundred, probably 1,000 turns on there, and I've put a little coil on the bottom, which is exactly the same that Ashley did. And the idea is that that will now go rather nicely and be surrounded by lamps. So we're making a lamp fitting that will run off the Slayer. So we've done that in the same way, and we have one slight problem with it, is that this wire that we used is actually like hair. We've got a little bit of fiddling around to make sure which connections we need to make to the transistor, and it's going to be a bit difficult to do that there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape on an extra little bit of wire that has a little sticky up bit, wind the hair around it, put a blob of solder on, and I've got a nice strong connection that I can play around with. And all I need to do with that is hold the wire down at the bottom, get myself a little bit of electrician's tape, and wind that tape around, putting a little bit of tension on it so that it springs out and then springs back and holds that red wire in place rather nicely and forms a pin connection. So a couple of wraps of ordinary electrician's tape around there, then bend that down. There we go. And we have effectively a pin connection here that I can wire to, and our 3 wires ready to make the connection to the transistor. Okay, so here it is all made up. Got a little breadboard, here's our lovely little thing there. Plug it in, LED comes on so you can see it's working nicely, and here's the really fun bit. Ta-da! So, I mean, I know that's a bit dim, okay, so we're talking proof of concept stuff here, but it works. So what have we got to do with it? Well, we want to get a bit more light out of that. We can do that by turning up the voltage, because this is only working on 5 volts. So we've whacked that up to 12 volts, it's going to be pretty bright. So we can turn up the voltage, we can play around with frequency, we can neaten up the little end bit here, and that's what we plan on doing, okay? We're going to fiddle on with the circuit a little bit, because that is a really inefficient circuit. That circuit draws about 200 milliamps. This draws about 8 milliamps, something like that. So we're going to play around with that circuit to get it more efficient, we're going to get it a bit more brighter, we're going to put a nice little handle on it, and somewhere you can put a battery. But there you go, proof of concept for our Tesla torch. Hope you enjoyed that, thank you for watching.